A turquoise stone, an ox, a Capricorn, and a Sagittarius. What do these all have in common? They're all characteristics of those born in December of 1997, just like me. Now, I'm Emma Cahus, and I was born December 26, 1997, day after Christmas. I know. And not much happened this day, or this month, in fact, but we'll get to that later. Now, starting in government and politics, on December 10th, over in Japan, the Kyoto Protocol was being signed. Now, this is an international treaty extending the UN climate change framework established in 1992. Now, that framework so far, scientists have already proven that climate change exists and that greenhouse gas emissions are contributing to the higher temperatures called climate change. So this protocol is basically just stating that developed countries are historically responsible for that rising temperature. So we can't put it on, basically what it's saying is we can't put it on developing countries to watch their environment protocols or whatever. We have to be responsible for them. Okay, and then over in Canada, on December 3rd, the Ottawa Treaty was being signed by 122 countries. Now, this treaty is also known as the Mine Ban Treaty, and it basically is trying to eliminate anti-personnel landmines. Now, if you don't know what those are, it's smaller landmines used in military wars, I guess. And they're smaller ones basically trying to injure the enemy instead of trying to kill them. And this strategy is basically we want the enemy to spend more money on logistics, specifically medical support, instead of other things. Okay? And so the Ottawa Treaty had a convention in Canada, and only 122 countries signed. Some of those that didn't sign were the United States, South Korea, China, and Russia. So some big players out there not working with this treaty. All right. And in some more serious news, in Algeria, the dirty war was going on. If you're not aware of this, Algeria, there was a civil war going on starting in 1991. It was basically the Algerian government versus various Islamic groups. The most prominent one was GIA, known as the Armed Islamic Group. Now, this civil war was known for extreme violence and brutality against civilians, and they were targeting journalists. So, December 24th, 1997, there was a Sid El Entre massacre, and it killed 50 to 100 villagers. And just a week later, in Wiala of the Relazine, 400 were killed in 4 different villages. Rough stuff. Now, over in Hong Kong, they were killing all their chickens. 1.25 million chickens were to be killed by a message from the government to try to stop the potential spread of potentially deadly influenza strain. So they were just killing all the chickens in Hong Kong. Okay, in some lighter news, sports news, Latrell Sprewell, a Golden State Warrior basketball player from California, attacked his coach during a practice. He was a 3-time All-State point guard for the Golden State Warriors, and during practice one day, his coach said, "Put a little mustard on a pass," and he went over and choked him. Now, he was pulled off of his coach and came in 20 minutes later and punched him. Now, this led to a 1-year suspension from the NBA for Latrell and a contract termination. His coach, PJ Carlesmo, was known to be aggressive and confrontational, and him and Latrell had problems for many years, but no excuse for that behavior. In other sports news, the FIFA Confederations Cup was happening in Saudi Arabia on December 12th. It was previously known as the King Fahd Cup, and they had some events in 1992 and 1995, but this one is the first to feature all FIFA confederations playing. In entertainment news, there were some new movies hitting the horizon December 1997. On December 19th, the hit Titanic was released with young Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio on a boat which hit an iceberg and sank. Very famous. This went on to be the highest grossing film of all time, second to Avatar later on. And it won 11 Oscars, including Best Pictures and Best Director. On December 5th, another great hit came along called Good Will Hunting, and this starred and was written by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, launching their careers into the movie industry. In sadder news, December 12th, Home Alone 3 was released, ending an era for child actor Macaulay Culkin. And on December 26th, my birthday, the only big news for this day, really, was the Spice Girls' big screen debut with the movie Spice World, the movie. It made $6.8 million in the first week, and it featured big stars like Elton John and Roger Moore. And also, in the entertainment realm, there were some actor tragedies this month, including Robert Downey Jr.'s sentencing to 6 months in jail for violating probation. If you're unaware of this story, he's had a lot of drug issues. Starting in the summer of 1996, he was arrested for a DUI, possession of cocaine, heroin, and an unloaded Magnum. In similar news, Christian Slater was sentenced to 6 months in jail for biting a man and attacking a police officer in August. In sad news, Chris Farley was found dead on December 18th in his apartment. He was known for his drug problems, and he accidentally overdosed. You may have known him from his comedic stand-up routines or him starring in Tommy Boy. In music news, Notorious B.I.G. was named Artist of the Year by Spin Magazine, and his hit Hypnotized was labeled Song of the Year. So, good for him. And President Clinton, on December 6th, awarded Bob Dylan and many others with Kennedy Center honors for a lifetime achievement in the arts. And that's about it for December 1997. Some other little fun facts for you. Gas was $1.22 a gallon, about a third of today's prices. Not great. And Will Smith and Jada Pinkett had a secret marriage in the Baltimore suburbs, and their son was expected this summer of 1998. Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned a lot about December 1997.